All right, episode 10. I am back. Back with episode 10. This is a pretty good milestone, okay? But I'm just going to jump into it right now. Great fights yesterday. UFC 272. That's basically what I'm going to be talking about this whole time. So if you're not into MMA, either, turn it off, or if you just like listening to my voice, then keep on listening, okay? So this is probably going to be out on Monday, March the 7th. So, recording this in advance. UFC 272. Most of my picks were correct. Just to go over everything. Let's see. Going over everything beginning from the bottom of the main card. Okay. So basically, I'm just going to go over everything that happened in the main card. There was some. No, that's okay. So I'm just going to go over stuff in the main card, what I think is going to happen with each fighter in terms of those fights, because all of these, or like the majority of these guys, are in very interesting positions in where they can go in future fights and stuff like that. So, yeah. All right, starting from the bottom, we got Sergey Spivak versus Greg Hardy, heavyweight, starting off the main card. Sergey Spivak got the round 1 KO TKO against Greg Hardy. I was happy against that. I had Spivak getting the KO in round 2. That's just like how I do it in Verdict. Verdict is, I think I already told you guys before, but Verdict is the app that me and Ahmed use to make all of our picks and MMA stuff. And so I had put down Spivak by KO in round 2 instead of round 1, though. Just real happy. Greg Hardy got knocked out again. Greg Hardy's fucking terrible. He should not be in the UFC, and also he's a piece of shit. So, let me see. Greg Hardy. Okay. Wait, what? What the heck? No. Hold on. Got an error. What the heck? Okay, here we go. What the fuck? I'm trying to look at Greg Hardy's, all of his fights and stuff, but nothing's showing up. Okay, Google's not working correctly right now. Try Wikipedia. Alright, he's on a... God, why is Greg Hardy even in... why is he even in the freaking UFC, dude? He's so terrible. He's so bad. Okay. So in his last, he's 0-3, or let me go with, yeah, he's 0-3 in his last 3, and he's been KO'd or TKO'd all 3 of those times. He's terrible, and he's not like a big name or anything like that. He's not coming up in the rankings, so I really don't care for Greg Hardy. Me and Kerf both hate him. He's like the only real fighter I think that I hate. Yeah, he's like the only real fighter that I feel like the both of us hate. I'm pretty sure Kerf doesn't hate anybody else in the UFC roster. I know I don't, but just, yeah, Greg Hardy's fucking terrible. He sucks. Whenever he got KO'd by Tai Tuivasa back in the summer, we were like so happy. Next fight, this was great. The return of Kevin Holland. Okay, so if you guys did not know, for those of you who don't know, in 2020, Kevin Holland had an amazing year. The dude fought 5 times in 1 year and went 5-0, and he had some of the best KOs of that entire year. I believe he was the fighter of the year in 2020. He was so good in 2020. It was insane. Okay, he was the hype train of 2020, right? So every year there's like a hype train of in the UFC and stuff. So like last year and this year, 21 and 22 in that area, it's Hamzat Chimaev. He's about to fight Gilbert Burns, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But in 2020, it was Kevin Holland. Dude went 5-0, and he was like fighting. I think the first 2 fights that he fought in 2020 was like maybe like a month apart or something like that. And then that all came to a screeching halt whenever he fought Blonde Brunson, which was a very annoying fight to watch. But yeah, so Kevin Holland came back this year. He got the round 2 KO against Alex Oliveira. I had it going to a decision, but that's whatever. At least I got the guy right. I don't know why I had it go into decision. I should have said KO, but that's okay. Hindsight is 2020, right? But yeah, so Kevin Holland is back. He's at welterweight. I believe he's going to be moving up to middleweight, which is 185. So from 170 to 185, I believe he is, let me see, middleweight. Oh yeah, he had the draw. Middleweight. No, this is his welterweight. Wait, yeah, this was his welterweight debut. So he was originally, like in 2020, whenever I talked about earlier, he's been a middleweight his whole career. So now he's this fight, I believe, was his first. Yeah, this fight was his first welterweight. This fight was his first welterweight debut. Excuse me. But yeah, so very interested to see where he goes. He's got some interesting stuff going on, man. Let me see the welterweight rankings real quick. UFC welterweight rankings. Okay, we got Kamaru. What? This isn't right. Next fight. No, this isn't right. This is. Hold on. I don't want to accept cookies. Freaking cookies, man. Okay, here it is. I think it's this one. Let's see. Da-da-da. Right. Okay, so in welterweight, got Colby as number 1. Hold on, let me see. Are these even updated? Let me see. I don't know if these are updated. Okay, well, whatever. We'll just go with that. So Colby's at 1. Yeah, I think it's still like that. Colby's at 1. Gilbert Burns is at 2. Leon Edwards is at 3. Vicente Luque 4. Bilal Muhammad 5. Jorge Masvidal at 6. Stephen Thompson 7. Neil Magny, Sean Brady, Chiesa. Okay. Hamzat is at 11. Jeff Neal, Li Jingling, Santiago, and don't know who that is, Shavkat Rakhmonov. So I would like to see Kevin Holland in welterweight. I would like to see him at least take on. I mean, yeah, I'd like to see him at least fight one more unranked guy before he gets a ranked guy in welterweight, and I think I feel like I don't know. I'm in the since NFL's over now. I'm just gonna be watching like old fights as much as I can, and I'm just gonna like watch as much tape on as many different fighters as I can, so that way I can have more to talk about, you know. But for now, like all these, like I know like the top 10 guys in every division more or less. I'm familiar with all of them except for, but like after 10, I don't know, like 11 to 15. You know what I mean? Unless it's like a big name. Um, Unless it's like a big name or like a older fighter who was like a champion or something, but now they're still like fighting. Um, but yeah, I'd like to see Kevin Holland fight another unranked guy, and then after that start getting into the rankings because he's a middleweight coming down to welterweight. So from 185 to 170, it's a weight cut, but he's bigger or he's taller. He's has more reach than pretty much every guy in that division. So it would be very interesting to see where he goes. See where he goes with that. I feel like he could definitely rattle some cages in welterweight, you know. So next fight was Bryce Mitchell and Edson Barboza. Okay. Bryce Mitchell does what Bryce Mitchell does. He took Edson Barboza down every round. I believe he was 4 for 4 on takedowns or 5. Yeah, 4 for 4 on takedowns. I mean, just masterclass, pretty much. Edson Barboza could not keep it on the feet. Bryce mixed it up with the striking and with the takedowns, so that way he didn't see it coming. I mean, it was pretty much domination from the beginning. For Edson Barboza, 23 for 46 on total strikes. Significant strikes, 16 for 37. No takedowns, no submission attempts, no knockdowns. Bryce Mitchell had one knockdown. Total strikes, 182 for 209. Significant strikes, 34 for 47. 4 for 4 takedowns, and he had a shit ton of ground control time. It must have been, out of a 15-minute fight, he must have had like 10 minutes of control time, or probably more, maybe 11 or 12, something ridiculous like that. So Bryce Mitchell is really, let me see, 145. He is interesting. Okay, here we go. Okay, so these still aren't updated. But that's okay because Edson Barboza and Bryce Mitchell are ranked 10 and 11 in the featherweight division, which is 145 respectively. So I mean they're just going to switch, but it's pretty easy to see. It's pretty easy to see where they're coming from, you know. So featherweights. Edson Barboza, he's 36. He's starting to. I mean, I don't know how many more fights he has on his contract and things like that, but he's getting up there. And I wasn't like at first. My first instinct whenever I saw the fight on this card was whenever I saw that this fight was on this card, I was like, I'm taking Edson Barboza. But then I had to think about it a little bit. I was like, he's 36, or like he's past 35. I know that for sure. He's getting older. He's not in his prime anymore. He's facing a young up-and-coming grappler in Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell's going to take him down. He's going to control him, maybe sub him. It was basically just the classic like striker versus grappler matchup. Okay, so in this fight, grappler won. Right, took him down, just beat him up on the ground. I mean, there was really nothing Edson can do. Right, so I mean, pretty dominant performance. I'd like to see, now that he's in the top 10. I mean, he only went up one spot, but still, now that he's in the top 10, I'd like to see him go against. I like to see him go against a little bit bigger of a challenge, I feel like Bryce Mitchell versus Giga um, would be a pretty good matchup, just because I mean Bryce Mitchell is now at 10, Giga's ranked 8. Giga came off that beating that Calvin Kattar gave him. Um, you know, just give. I mean, Giga's been a hype train as well. So I mean, two hype trains in featherweight. I feel like Giga's still like he's basically the same. I mean, he's that striker with killer kicks like Edson used to be in his prime. So I think Mitchell and Giga should go at it. If Mitchell were to win, then he gets top 5 guy. If he wins, then title shot. But right now, I'd like to see him fight. I'd like to see him fight another striker that's a striker like Edson Barboza, but that's more dangerous now. You know what I mean? And that's Giga Chikadze, because he shuts down guys, but there's also, there's definitely ways that Bryce Mitchell can beat him with the takedowns and everything, just like he did with Edson Barboza. You know what I mean? So that's where I feel like you should go with that. So moving on to the next, Edson Barboza. Oh, he's getting older, man. I don't know how long he wants to fight or things like that. So, co-main event. Moving on to the co-main, RDA versus Renato Mycano. That fight was pretty crazy. RDA won by decision. I had him winning by decision. For the last fight, I had Bryce Mitchell winning by decision. So, and then this fight, RDA versus Renato Mycano, I had decision. So RDA took it just because. I mean, he was going to fight Rafael Fiziev in lightweight, which is 155. But then Fiziev, and Fiziev's an amazing fighter. Let me see where he's ranked in 155. Fiziev is 11, and let me see. Fiziev is 11, and RDA is 6. So I don't know why RDA was going to take the fight, but anyway, Fiziev, crazy fighter. Dude has some great knockouts. Really good up and comer in lightweight, but I forgot why he stepped out. Let me see. Rafael Fiziev. I forgot why because of COVID-19. He's out. Really, dude. Won't be competing. Okay. Just I had green camp. Okay. Oh, he got just to get sick with COVID for 3 days. I've been in a hotel bed with fever, bone pain, and cough. Dang, looks like it hit him pretty bad. Hopefully he comes back from that, man. Amazing fighter. But yeah, so he stepped out. I believe it was on 5 days notice. 5 days notice. Renato Mycano came in, and a little tip: if you're making picks, or if you like to bet or anything like that, if a fighter comes in on like a week's notice, 5 days notice, something crazy like that, just bet on the other guy. Bet everything on the other guy. Okay, especially if it's a 5-round fight like this was. For some reason, I don't know why it was a 5-round fight, because it's not a title fight. It's not a main event. It was at catch weight of 160. So that way Mycano could actually make the weight. I don't know why they made that, but I don't know why they could have just done it at 165, but whatever. But yeah, so they made a catch weight 160, and so that way Mycano could make weight. So then, I mean, the fight started. RDA was pretty dominant, but Renato Mycano definitely had some. He definitely had some. God dang, he had some success on the feet. He was kind of piecing him up. He was kind of piecing RDA up towards the end, especially in the fifth round. He had a big rally. I'm not gonna lie. So RDA had one knockdown, 179 out of 318 total strikes. Golly. 149 out of 286 significant strikes, 5 out of 15, 5 for 15 on takedowns. Renato Mycano, he had, obviously he had way less. 99 for 185 total strikes, 88 for 172 significant, 0 for 3 on takedowns. So, I mean, hold on, give me 1 second. I'm going to pause this. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. What was I talking about? I was talking about RDA versus Mycano. Okay, so basically, RDA basically, he pieced him up, took him down. He had a lot of control time on the ground. It was ridiculous how much control time, and Mycano just did not give up. He had so much heart in that fight. It was ridiculous. He just kept taking beating after beating every round. I mean, his face was so messed up, dude. His eye was the corner really should have stopped it. I think the corners, I don't know, man. They were, I think Bisping and Rogan were both saying that they wanted to see like more corner stopping fights. Just it wasn't worth it to watch their guy just take a beating for 5 rounds instead of just calling it. Instead of just like throwing in the towel and calling it, not to quit, but just to save their fighter. You know what I mean? He was taking all this punishment. He took all this punishment for an extra like round and a half, and for no good reason, right? He came in on 5 days' notice. He came in just to save the fight, not to he. I mean, obviously, anyone who walks in there, they're trying to win, but nobody expected him to win. Just the corners, they just they just brush off all the blood and stuff, and then if their guy's getting pieced up, then so be it. More brain damage for them, but maybe they can win. Just call it right there, dude. You're just letting this guy become. I mean, you're just letting this guy get even more brain damage. It's just like, I don't know, man. Just stop, okay? Just stop. So, yeah, I don't know about that, man, but yeah, it was still an entertaining fight. Nato Mycano definitely had his moments. He definitely got some good combinations in, and it was definitely getting the crowd very excited. So RDA still wants to make like a title run, but I mean, all praise to him, all respect to him and stuff, but I don't see it happening. Those top 5 guys, man. RDA is ranked 6. Those top 5 guys are just absolute killers, man. Absolute killers. I cannot see RDA going 5 rounds with any of those top 5 guys, man. So obviously, I mean, Gaethje's number 1, Poirier's 2, Islam 3, Beneil 4, Michael Chandler 5. I mean, I don't see I don't see him going. I don't see him RDA being able to go 5 rounds with any of them, but I don't know. I could be wrong. But man, lightweight is just full of killers, man. Oof. Okay, final or main event. Main event: Colby versus Jorge. It went exactly how basically everyone thought it was gonna go. Okay, Colby came out. He put on the pace. Masvidal could not keep up. Masvidal had his moments. He pieced him up a little bit. He had one knockdown, or kind of a knockdown, I would say, because he hit Colby with some good shots. He hit Colby with a really good shot. I think it was in round. When was that? I believe it was in round 4, and Colby just went down on one knee, but then he popped right back up. I mean, Colby has. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just whenever I saw this fight, I was like, I'm immediately going with Colby just because there's levels. There's levels to this. There's levels to everything, man. But just I could not see Masvidal is not at that championship caliber level. You know what I mean? I would not. Kind of the same thing with the other lightweight, like how I said with RDA. It's kind of the same thing, but with this, I wouldn't put him up against like the top 4, or I guess the top 5 counting the champion this time. So, I mean, I would not. I mean, we already saw what happened with Usman twice. I cannot see him winning against obviously Colby now, but before this fight, if you asked for this fight, if anyone said that Masvidal would win, no one made a pick on Masvidal who was using their head. You know what I mean? So anyone who picked Masvidal, they were going with their heart, which is definitely the worst thing to do unless you're really invested in both fighters. But I was not like, I knew that Colby would just come out, put on the pace, wrestle, just keep having output. As much output. I mean, look at this, dude. This is insane output. Colby had he was 218 for 338 total strikes. 338 total strikes. 94 for 201 on significant strikes. 6 for 15 on takedowns. Versus Masvidal, 90 for 166 total strikes. Hold on. What is 166? Oh, calculator. I think he had more than double his output. 166 times 2. 332. And he had 6 more than that. So Colby doubled his output. Freaking ridiculous. No takedowns. Masvidal had some good shots, but man, this fight, dude, you just saw like I don't know what ATT was thinking. They knew what Colby was going to do coming into this fight, and it was just like, I don't know. What other game plan is there? You stay in the middle of the octagon. If he starts to come forward, you come back. Just make sure you don't hit the back. Have your back to the cage, and then, circle around, stay in the middle. Just keep everything in the middle. And they didn't. Jorge just fucking, every time Colby would come back, Jorge would back up, and then he would be up against the fence. Colby would piece him up a little bit on the fence with his hands, then come in for the takedown, and eventually take him down, then just beat him up on the ground. I mean, it was a textbook Colby, and they had, I don't even know what kind of game plan they had. They didn't even try. He didn't even try, dude. It was just, I don't know. He they didn't even Jorge Masvidal did not even try to stay in the middle. He was in the outskirts of the cage more than he was in the middle. Like, what are you doing? Why? Don't wrestle with him. Just stay in the middle and piece him up. Get some good shots. He got some good shots in. He got some good combos in. Good, powerful shots. He has more power than him, but Colby he has the best chin, but still, you could have. I mean, Jorge has the power to crack him, but I mean, I don't know. It was just terrible game planning, terrible execution. I don't know, either one of those, maybe both. I don't know. They literally, like, what else is Colby going to do? You think he's going to come out and try and knock you out and stuff? He literally said he does it every fight. He comes out, he wrestles, he puts on the pace. I mean, what else do you want to do? You have to control the pace, man. I don't know, dude. This is a prime example of that there's levels. Colby is on a different. Colby and Kamaru, the champion, are on a whole other level than anybody else in the welterweight division. I might put Vicente Luque up there because he's a killer, but also it might just be a little bit biased because I'm a big fan of him. That dude's a killer, but yeah, definitely those first two. They are on. I mean, they're on a completely different level than the rest of the division. And yeah, Masvidal's he's not championship caliber, man. He's not. This you clearly saw it. In all of my time watching the sport of MMA, there's something that separates champions from everybody else, or like the best of the best, like top contenders. Masvidal is not a top contender. I mean, those 3 fights that he won, what was it? Knocking out Darren Till, then the crazy knee against Ben Askren, and then beating up Nate Diaz for the BMF title. I mean, that was a good year and stuff, but it wasn't that competition was not elite, I would say. It was not elite. Colby and Kamaru Usman are elite. Vicente Luque is probably elite. I would put those 3 guys at the top of this entire division. Yeah, I mean, just it was hard to watch, just not because I felt bad for Jorge or anything, but just because, like, it was. How can I describe this? I mean, it's like you come into a test, right? You know what kind of problems are going to be on the test. Your teacher was like, okay, there's going to be some multiplication problems. There's going to be some fractions in here, right? And then you go out, your dumbass goes out and studies fucking addition and subtraction, expecting there to be, and then you walk in, like, and there's multiplication and fractions, and then you're like, yo, what the fuck, man? And then, like, what else did you think he was going to do? It was just, I mean, it was a masterclass by Colby, obviously, but and I had Colby, but it was just disappointing to see, like, the failure in the game plan. I don't know what game plan. I mean, what other game plan would you have besides just keep it in the middle, keep it tight, piece them up in the middle, and then you'll get your shot. If you can just keep up with and Jorge was keeping up with the pace in, like, the first, like, 3 rounds, so he had plenty of opportunity. But in the 4th and 5th round, you could tell he just had barely any energy for anything. So that's whenever Colby really shined the most. He shined throughout the entire fight, but he shined the most in those last 2 rounds. So, I mean, look, you got 3 You have enough time to make an opportunity to capitalize, to make an opportunity, capitalize on a big shot, and for, let's say, 15 minutes, let's just say, 15 minutes out of the 25, because after that last 10, your chances of getting that big shot in are gonna go down drastically because your cardio is gone. Why are you backing up to the cage when you know that he does not have the power to knock you out? Just stay in the middle, take a couple of shots, sure, but just stay in the middle, stay composed, block some shots, maybe take a couple, but you can dish out more damage than he can. Okay? But why are you going back to the cage? Why are you going up to the fence? That's literally his best. That is your opponent's best area. You want to control the fight. Okay? I understand like a couple times, right? But I mean, look at this. 6 for 15, dude. You know why he went for 15 takedowns? Because Masvidal was up against the fucking fence for like fucking 20 out of the 25 minutes, okay? Like if you are fighting a shark and in the middle there's land and on the outskirts of that land there's water, why are you backing up into the water where the shark is more dangerous? Stay on land. Stay in the middle. I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know, man. Game planning and scheming. Not scheming. I don't want to say that because that's kind of like a negative. That sounds like a very negative thing to say. But when I mean scheming, I'm talking about like in the football sense of like there's a scheme, there's a game plan, there's a certain way that you want to play, right? There's a certain way that you want to go about winning. There's so many different ways to win. There you can knock the guy out, you can win by a decision, you can tire him out, just beat him up, just drown him. You can get him with a submission. You can just piece him up for 5 rounds. Just hit combos every single time. There's so many different ways to win in the sport, and I feel like I'm shitting on him too much, but it's just like just terrible gameplay. And not terrible game plan because everyone knows what the game plan is against a fighter. Like I've said like 15 times before already in the past 10 minutes, you just stay in the middle. Just stay in the middle, dude. It's a big octagon. You just circle around. If you have to back up, you circle around and try and get back to the middle as fast as you can. But I mean, I don't know. Just Colby's on another level, man. I don't know. He said he wants to fight Dustin Poirier. I think that would be an awesome fight. I think Colby versus the ATT gym saga is about to begin, and I feel like that's going to be a pretty good saga. It's kind of like Dominic Cruz versus oh my god, why am I forgetting? Hold on, let me see. Oh my god, why am I forgetting the name of the gym? Like TJ Dillashaw and whatchamacallit? Fucking Cody Garbrandt, those guys versus, oh my god, what is it? Alpha? Oh, Team Alpha Male, yeah. Dominic Cruz versus Team Alpha Male, yeah. Like Dominic Cruz literally he was just running through guys from that entire gym against Team Alpha Male. Like, hold on. Let's see. Okay, it doesn't say much. But yeah, Team Alpha Male. So basically, whenever Dominic Cruz was champion, or whenever he was also coming up, he must have fought, I think he fought like 5 guys from the same gym, Team Alpha Male. He fought Faber, he fought Garbrandt. I believe Dillashaw was on Alpha Male, was on Team Alpha Male one of their fights, but I believe the rematch he was not. But yeah, he must have fought like 4. He must have had like 4 or 5 different fights with different guys from that one gym, and he beat all of them. He only lost to one, which was Garbrandt. I believe he was like 4 for 5 out of those fights. So he only lost to Garbrandt, and that was it. But this is what I want to see personally with Colby, because he needs to go through a couple more guys in order to. I mean, obviously, anyone who fights, they want to be a champion. So if you want to get that title shot again, whenever you've lost to the champ twice already, you got to go through a bunch of high caliber guys. So he's been wanting Dustin Poirier. I think Dustin Poirier would. I think it's a good fight, honestly, because look, both of the guys, Covington and Poirier, they both lost in two title fights in their division, right? Dustin Poirier, he's more comfortable. He can make welterweight, right? He's a bigger guy for 155. So if he fights at welterweight, he'll be at more of his natural weight. And you have a pretty good. You still have good storyline. The UFC still has a good storyline with Colby and Dustin. Just keep running that Colby versus ATT storyline. It's a good story, dude. I'm not gonna lie, it's good. Just keep running that. I don't know who I'd taken that. Because excuse me. Because Dustin's one of my favorite fighters, man. But I think I'd probably still take Colby. Yeah, I think I'd still take Colby, man. But yeah, I want to see that fight, and then after that, I don't know who else is at ATT that's at that level for Colby to come in and fight. But definitely for that next fight, I want to see that. Masvidal, I feel like he should just, he can still go. He can still go into like money fights and stuff. So he could probably get a rematch with Nate Diaz or something if Nate Diaz is not gonna do the trilogy with Conor. Let me see. Masvidal. Let me think, actually. Yeah, I don't really know, man, because I don't really see Masvidal like. Yeah, I mean, he could just fight Nate Diaz, but I can't really think of anything else for him to do. He's probably got. I mean, he probably has at least one other option, but I can't think of it right now off the top of my head. Unless it's like, he's fighting the whatchamacallit, like lower ranked guys, and then it's like opportunity for the lower ranked guys to rise up in the rankings. But I don't think he'd take any of those fights. Probably just get some money fights in, and then probably retire, man. He's getting older. He's like 37, so I don't know what's in store for him, but I really want to see this whole Colby versus ATT gym. I want to see this thing blossom into a pretty much like man versus gym rivalry. I feel like that would be pretty cool. It's like the second coming of Dominic Cruz versus Team Alpha Male. That would be pretty dope. Yeah. Okay, what? All right, 43 minutes. That's pretty good. Pretty good time, huh? Yeah, that's about it, man. Next fight. Oh, I was going to talk about hockey, actually. Okay, so I've decided I'm a Penguins fan. Okay, Pittsburgh Penguins, because they are good. Okay, so the Penguins. Okay, so the NHL's broken up into two conferences, so East and West Conference. There's in the East, there's the Atlantic Division and the Metropolitan Division. Western, there's Central Division, Pacific Division. Okay, so on the Eastern Division, in the Eastern Conference, Metropolitan Division. Yeah, Metropolitan Division. What? Oh, okay. Metropolitan Division. There is the Hurricanes at number 1. Penguins are at 2. The Rangers, the Capitals, and then so on and so on, right? So the Penguins are second in their division. They're 34 and 14. They're 34 and 14. They are in their last 10. They're 6-3 and 1. So they lost their last game. I believe they played. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, wait. Okay, right. So the Friday. Oh, right. Okay, so they played in their last 2 games. The Penguins played the Tampa Bay Lightning, which are the reigning champs, right? They beat the Lightning 5-1, which was exciting. I did not get to watch that game because that was the day that I watched the Batman. And then they played the Hurricanes, which is like the division matchup, right? So number 1 and number 2 in the division. They lost to the Hurricanes in overtime. So they lost 3-2. So their next game is against the Panthers on Tuesday. So I will watch that game. Then so basically my whole strategy with this hockey thing is I'm trying to get into it, right? Trying to get into it, learn some players, learn about different teams and whatever by following the Penguins, by following who they play, right? And I'm just going to try and watch as many of the Penguins games as I can and get a feel for the team, get a feel for other teams. So that way, whenever the playoffs start, and for those of you who are not big sports fans, apparently the NHL playoffs are, they are like touted as the best playoffs in sports, apparently. Just because of all the crazy stuff that happens, and there's like a lot of upsets and things like that. So NHL playoff. So my whole thing is I need to get into this sport as much as I can before let me see. I need to get into this sport before the playoffs start, so that way I can enjoy the playoffs until then, right? So, let me see. Okay, so for 2022, the NHL playoffs will begin on May 2nd and will end on or before June 30th. Okay, so yeah, so I got some time. It's the beginning of March. I have March and April to watch as much hockey as possible, get used to the game, learn some rules and things like that, get used to some teams. Well, let me get some water in here. My throat's kind of dry. Okay. But yeah, so that's my main thing. Just trying to get through all that. So they play... So the Penguins will play. The only player that I know on the Penguins roster right now is Sidney Crosby. So he's apparently he's really good. Sidney Crosby. Where's the other guy? There was one guy again in that game against the Flyers. He had 3 goals. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Chris Letang. No, he's a defenseman. I don't remember. But yeah, so the Penguins play the Panthers on Tuesday. They play the Golden Knights on Friday, and then they rematch the Hurricanes on Sunday. So I'm gonna try and watch as much hockey as I can, learn as much about the game and stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it about that. I'm just gonna keep watching as much as I can up until May 2nd. That is when the playoffs will begin. But yeah, what else? Oh yeah. So when is that? Next weekend. So next weekend is fight night. UFC fight night. Okay. It's a pretty good card actually. Main event, Thiago Santos, Magomed Ankalaev. It's gonna be a pretty good fight. Thiago Santos is still coming back. He's never been the same since he fought John Jones, just because he messed up his knee. Co-main, Marlon Moraes and Song Yadong. That's gonna be a good fight. Featherweight. This is like a slept on. This is like entire card is like slept on. You know what I mean? It's like it's a fight night, but it's kind of like a pay-per-view card for hardcore fans. You know what I mean? Because you have like up and comers kind of in every weight class doing this, right? In every fight in this card. So like, for example, the first one, Alex Pereira versus Bruno Silva. For those of you who don't know, Alex Pereira is the only guy, I believe he's the only person who's ever knocked out Israel Adesanya, and he knocked him out in kickboxing. So he's in the UFC now. I believe this is his second fight, and he's trying to. I mean, he's in the UFC now. He's making some noise apparently. So everyone is like waiting for him to get to the top so they could rematch, maybe, but who knows, right? Drew Dober versus Terrence McKinney. I remember Drew Dober fought Islam like back in November, I believe, or back like last year in November. I don't remember when. But yeah, so Drew Dober's he's pretty good in lightweight. Khalil Roundtree, I've been following this guy since I've been following this guy for a long time, ever since like close to whenever I started watching the sport. So I just like him personally. He's a good fighter too. So featherweight, Sadiq Youssef and Alex Caceres. That's going to be a pretty good fight. Sadiq Youssef is very interesting. He's is he ranked? I don't even know. I've just seen him fight a couple times. Yeah, he's ranked 12 versus Caceres. I don't think Caceres. Yeah, Caceres is ranked 15, so it's not that big of a thing. But yeah, and then Marlon Moraes. Obviously, Marlon Moraes he's been a staple of the bantamweight division, so that's going to be a pretty good fight. So this whole card is like slept on, and then I'm going to see if I can watch some of the prelims and stuff as well. But yeah, so that's all that for next week. So yeah, there you have it. My thoughts on the whole card from UFC 272. My thoughts on what I need to do, or how I plan to keep watching hockey. Need to keep watching hockey till it gets to the playoffs. Need to learn as much as I can. And then my thoughts on the freaking whatchamacallit, why can't I think? On the UFC fight night. So that's gonna be good. I'm gonna watch that next weekend. And yeah, I'll see you guys in episode 11. I guess should have just said I'll see you in the next one. It's kind of weird, but yeah. So I'll see you guys in the next one.